You know, folks, I cannot count how many times a day someone says to me, "You must watch CNN." Anytime I disagree with them, that's what they say to me. If you went to any video on any social media platform of mine and just scroll down, you wouldn't get far at all. You would see someone going, "Yeah, he's brainwashed by CNN. That's all he does is watch the CNN." Well, I'll say this. I pay attention to what CNN is saying about things. I listen to see what kind of spin they're putting on it. But by the same token, I listen to Fox News to see what kind of spin they're putting on it. I'll listen to MSNBC. I'll watch Newsmax. I want to hear what everyone is saying to see what kind of spin they're putting on it. Then I try to go in and dig into more credible sources to try to get to the root of the story, because on the mainstream channels, what I see more than anything is a story break, and then they have a panel of people sitting around telling me how to feel about it. So I try to go and learn about the story and then see who's putting what spin on it. But that doesn't mean that I watch CNN. That's not it at all. So I wasn't too familiar with Don Lemon years ago. I knew who he was. My mother has always been a big fan of Don, and I've had the pleasure of being on his show now twice since he left CNN. And I can honestly say that I think that's the best thing that could have ever happened to Don Lemon, because now he can be a true journalist. I loved seeing him take down Elon Musk in that interview, and I've really enjoyed the conversations that he and I have had. And what I loved more than anything is seeing him go back on CNN and drop this truth bomb right to their faces. I absolutely love this. Roll the clip.
It's going to, I'm sure some people will be surprised by this, by at least the effort, I think it's right to sort of lower the temperature. But for Donald Trump and his folks to say, and J.D. Vance to say that it's Democrats who are causing this.
Right, you just heard J.D. Vance say that.
That's an issue. I wrote down some notes when I saw it. Do you mind if I read this?
Yeah, no, because you know what? Actually, I want you to know you were sitting just off.
I was just sitting
set when we played the J.D. Vance.
And I'll just get through some of it. So he's called everyone who works in this building the enemy of the people.
Yep.
Right? We had pipe bombs sent because he kept calling us the enemy of the people, and that CNN was fake news. Crooked Joe, Crooked Hillary, Crooked Kamala, Comrade Kamala, Deranged Jack Smith, Bird Brain Nikki Haley, Bloodbath if he's not elected. There won't be another election if he's not elected. Bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. Poisoning the blood of our country, destroying the blood of our country, which was something that was Hitler-esque. Communist, Marxist, fascist, left-leaning that live like vermin. Sons of bitches to NBA players. Shithole countries. Haiti was one, and now he's blaming Haitian immigrants for things. Blood coming out of her wherever, as he talked about Megyn Kelly. And so if Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and others to stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he should stop threatening democracy. Perhaps he shouldn't be trying to overturn elections, overthrow the government, and inciting insurrections if he doesn't want people to be honest about what he is, who he is, and what he's doing.
Folks, I absolutely love that, because Don Lemon just brought the receipts and laid them down. And I've seen so many people on Twitter going, "Man, Don Lemon was trying to blame it on Trump. He said it's his fault." Well, who else's would it be? There was the receipts. You can't deny anything that he said, because everything he said right there was absolutely true. Where was the lie in what he said? Where was the misinformation? Where was the untruths? Donald Trump has said all of those things. That is Donald Trump's rhetoric. And we need to keep pointing this out. He's the one that cranked up the temperature, and it's his people that keeps coming after him. It's people that bought in to his ridiculous bullshit and conspiracy theories that came after him. And folks, I'm just going to try to break this down in the simplest fashion that I know how. Back when I was going to school, there was a kid who was just an absolute bully. This kid just pushed everybody around. He pushed me around. And back then, I was a kid who just wanted to go to school, be left alone. I was the quiet kid. I know it's hard to believe now that I talk constantly, but back in school, I didn't say two words to anybody. And I just wanted to be left alone, and I wanted to go about my day. And this guy just kept on and on and on. And I kept hearing people say, "You know what? Eventually, one day, somebody's going to have enough, and they're going to kick your ass." And sure enough, one day on the bus, somebody just absolutely mopped the floor with him. And the bus driver was an old man who really wasn't able to get up and break up a fight between two kids. And so this bus driver was just kind of sitting there going, "Knock it off, boys. Quit. Stop it." That's about all he did. But the kid absolutely got dragged. He got the floor mopped with him, and we all sat back and we laughed about it. And no one felt sorry for the kid because he had terrorized every one of us for years. And we all were high-fiving the other kid. The other kid ended up getting a couple of days in detention or suspended or whatever he got. And we were high-fiving him when he came back. And that bully walked around with his tail between his legs for a long time after that. He didn't say a whole lot. And I have seen stuff like that happen in my lifetime more than once. That's not the only story I have along those lines. I played in dive bars for over 25 years of my life, and I played in some very cutthroat kind of places here in East Tennessee, Southeast Kentucky, Southwest Virginia. No, I never played behind the chicken wire like the Blues Brothers, but there was times where I almost requested it. I do have some scars on my Les Paul from flying beer bottles, so I definitely needed it at times. But I saw people come in and try to walk all over people. I saw people come in and get belligerent and get drunk. And I would hear bouncers say to them, "Stop. You can't do that. You're being too belligerent. You're disrupting the place. You can't walk up and start groping people. You can't walk up and start pushing people around." And then I would see the bouncer come over and bounce them out on their head. Or I would see some good old boy just roadhouse style mop the floor with somebody. And nobody ever stood back and said, "Well, you know what, that we need to turn the temperature down in the room, man. We need to kind of tone it down in here." They all said, "No, that asshole that's been coming here every week raising hell finally got what was coming to him." And to me, that's how simple this whole thing is. Donald Trump has been out there name calling. And even when he's talking about us turning down the temperature, he will still go into Comrade Kamala and Crooked Joe, and they're a danger and they're the real threat. They go right back to that because that's all they have. Just like the bully who doesn't have any substance to him at all and just goes around pushing people around, that's exactly who Donald Trump is, and that's exactly who he has inspired his kids to be. When you see Don Jr., "Oh, my dad, I don't know how I'm going to explain this to my kids. They're the real," it's just like, it's so cringe. It's like, dude, your daddy is what caused all of this. I don't care to say it. And you going out there continuing to stir the pot is what's causing all of this. We're sitting back condemning it. Every time it's happened, it's been us that's came out and said, "Hey, your people shouldn't be coming after you. Hey, your people shouldn't be the ones coming. You should tone this down." We're the ones saying we don't condone violence. We don't want it to happen. We don't want to see any of this. There's no place for this. Every time that this has happened, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden comes out and says, "We hope you're okay, Donald." They call to check to see how you're doing. And they say, "We hope you're okay." But then you got your people going, "They tried this. They tried to get him." No, they didn't. Your people did. The people you got worked up with a bunch of bullshit conspiracy theories. And by this constant Crooked Joe, Comrade Kamala, it's going to be a bloodbath. We're going to root out the vermin. It's so ridiculous that we're having this conversation. I'll be honest with you. I got one more story before we go, but one night I saw a dude get bounced out and there was a railing that went across the dance floor. So there was like a wall. So at the end of the dance floor was a wall. And I literally watched him go out like a basketball. And he had this coming to him, long time coming. Boom, boom, boom. I watched his head go up. It would go up and come down, go up and come down. And the bouncer was just kicking the crap out of this dude. And I watched him go all the way out the door. And when he finally went out the door, I said, I thought he would never leave. And the crowd started cheering because they were so sick of his shit. And not one person in there said, "Hey, man, you guys might need to start kind of tone it down a little bit. Don't play your music so loud and don't tell people to come on out here and have a good time. You boys need to tone it down." Nobody said that. Nobody said that. They said, "You know what? That guy's barred. He's not allowed back in here." And we all went, maybe we can have a good time from now on. And that's what we want to see happen on November 5th. We want to see Donald Trump bounced out. And I mean that peacefully. We want to see him voted out once and for all. And we want to hear the words, "Yep, he's barred. Don't worry. That drunk's not going to be coming back to the bar anymore." That's what we want to see. I don't want to see one hair on Donald Trump's head hurt. What I want to see is his pride and his ego wounded when he loses again. And what I want to see is him held accountable for the things he done. And I would like to see his punk kids sit there and cry to Jesse Waters for the rest of their lives. And I won't feel sympathy. If Don Jr. sits there in front of Jesse Waters and we see him with white in his beard one day going, "My dad," I don't care. I don't care. They're a bunch of spoiled rich brats that's got nothing in common with any of us. And I do not care. And we're not going to turn down the temperature because we're not the one that cranked it up. All we've been sitting over here saying is, could we get some health care? Could women have some rights back? Could black people be allowed to go to the store without feeling like their lives are threatened? Could gay and trans people just walk freely? Could people identify however they want to? Could we have a clean environment? Could we recognize that climate change is real? Could we just believe in science again? Could we just believe in research and evidence and data? Could we just get back to that? That's all we're asking for. And we're not sitting over here coming up with nicknames. I try my best to refrain from that. I don't go down that rabbit hole of just coming up with every nickname in the world, because I feel like we have substance. We have ideas and we have solutions. And we're the ones that's trying to be the adults in the room. The brat throwing the tantrum doesn't get to tell the adult to tone it down. It works the other way around. And they're going to have to learn that. And they're going to learn that the hard way come November 5th when we vote them out of the political arena once and for all.